We got a quick glimpse of the state capitol here when we drove in. Let's go see if we can get a quick look on the inside. I think it's still opened. All right, made it in. I gotta make it snappy because the building's gonna close here in a few minutes. So let's go see the big thing here. So Pierre, South Dakota. Did you know it's the second smallest state capital in the United States? Can you name which one is the smallest state capital? And then also, Pierre is one of only 4 state capitals, take a look at this, that is not serviced with an interstate highway. Can you name the other 3? And of those, Pierre is the only state capital that doesn't have an expressway. Pretty, isn't it? So Pierre was founded in 1880 and became the state capital in 1889 when the state became a state. There was a competition between the city of Huron, which we just passed earlier today, and Pierre. Each successive group was, of course, extolling the virtues of their town. But Pierre eventually made the cut because they were in the center of the state. And so history has a fun way of doing things like that, right? Oh, look, here's the governor's office. Will we see the governor? Christy, are you here? So like I said, Pierre is the second smallest state capital. It's about 14,000 population. And it's a pretty little town, what I've seen of it so far. So like I said, Pierre was originally founded in 1880. There was actually a fort over on the other side of the river. Oh, the river. And this was a big trading area. A lot of French. So the French came up here, and this would have been part of the Louisiana Purchase, I believe. Oh, let's go up one more. Anyway, founded in 1880, became the capital in 1889. And one other trivia fact, which river is the longest in the United States? You might say it's the Mississippi River, right? That's wrong. It's the Missouri River. Missouri River is officially about 100 miles longer than the Mississippi. Not only is the Missouri River the longest in the United States, it's the longest in North America. And so why I'm telling you this is because the Missouri River is just right out here. Pierre sits along the banks of the Missouri River. In fact, I think we're going to stay here tonight. I was going to go out to the grassland, but I think I found a spot where we can stay. Oh, and by the way, here's the governor's office. Should we go in and say hi? Let's see what happens. She wasn't in, or at least they told me that. Okay, so all right, so here we go. Look at this out here, right up here on the bluffs. Pretty nice, huh? See if we can get a picture of the building in the light instead of from behind in the shadows there. That's a much better picture, huh? They got nice grounds here. Well, nice colorful flowers before winter gets here, I guess. And then the river's right out there. Okay, I guess that's it for the Capitol now. Too bad we couldn't see more. If I got here earlier in the day, I guess we could have spent quite some time. I did get a little booklet, so if I find anything else out that seems noteworthy without showing the Capitol, here's one more shot. I'll let you know. Hey, you know what? The governor's mansion is just right over here. So since she wasn't in, maybe we can go knock on her door at the house and just say hi, huh? Think we can do it? Well, somehow I think we're not going to get over there. It's right over there in those trees. Got a moat around it, or a lake at least. You know, this Capitol grounds here, I've been to a few state capitals, not a whole lot, but of the ones I've seen, and even of the pictures I've seen of others, this is one of the prettier state capitol grounds that I've seen. Oh, and here, this is supposed to be some famous statue of the wild fighting stallions. All right, I stopped at Walmart to get some groceries, and then I'm gonna go try and stay the night on this island in the middle of the Missouri River. And you know, what little I've seen of Pierre here, or Pierre is however they may call it, it's a pretty little town for 14,000 people. There's the Missouri River behind me. That's where I'm gonna go try and park at tonight. But before I do, take a look at this. A little 14-foot by 20-foot building. Which was Pierre's first schoolhouse back in 1881. It was just a little box of a building. And it opened in 1881 in October of that year, I believe. And then just a few months later, they opened up the main school. But like I said, it started with 18 students. Just think, 18 students all crammed up in that 14 by 20 foot building. And then eventually over the years, hello there. Eventually over the years it was moved to different locations until finally the Preservation Society said, well, let's put it here in Steamboat Park, right next to the river, so that everybody can enjoy it. So the old one-room schoolhouse from 1881. Look at that. Had a little fireplace. Huh. All right. The river looks pretty nice, doesn't it? Let's go see what this spot looks like. It's just a little parking area, so it's kind of a, if you want to call it a stealth parking area. It's owned by the Corps of Engineers, so I think it will be okay. I read some comments that some people parked there and got a knock on the door from the police during the night, but they were actually parked in city-owned property, and that once they moved down to the Corps of Engineers owned property, it was okay. Now let's see what happens. Just like that, here we are. The place is called La Framboise Island. Named for a guy named Joseph Framboise. But prior to that, in 1804, yellow jacket. In 1804, Lewis and Clark actually stopped here. They call it Good Humored Island because of the good spirits that they were in that day, as opposed actually to the following day when they had a little tense run-in with the Teton Sioux upstream here. I don't rightly recall how far upstream it was the next day, but instead of calling it good humored campsite like they called this one, they called that one bad humored campsite. And that was also an island that they camped in on that evening. That island no longer being there because the river is actually dammed up downstream. So anyway, this is a nature area, and this is all owned by, this section here is owned by the Army Corps of Engineers. That section down there is owned by the city. So hopefully I get by tonight. But there's a lot of nature trails. I'll show you a little aerial map. There's a lot of nature trails in here. At one time during its history, it was farmed, and because the river is no longer free flowing in this area, and it's dammed up, the vegetation has changed because now it's no longer getting flooded. So it's changed from all the native species, mostly, which was mostly cottonwood, things of that sort. Now there's a lot of ash and elm and more permanent types of trees here on the island. So La Framboise Island, calling it home for the night. Got dinner at Walmart. It's good dinner. Carrots, sweet peppers, hummus, tortillas, some string cheese, a couple other things, mostly healthy. All right, that's it for tonight. Well, yesterday I told you the weather is changing. Guess I was a day early. It's really changed now. Kind of a brisk breeze coming down the river here, Missouri River. And take a look at my view from last night. So time to head on west. The goal is to maybe head into Wyoming today, but I might fall short of that. And see what the weather's doing. It was kind of spitting rain earlier, but let's go see what we see today, huh? Here's an interesting fact. I'm driving this US Highway 14 west, and this is actually also the Old Deadwood Trail that was in use between 1876 and 1906, something like that. So the Old Deadwood Trail was a road of sorts that the homesteaders and settlers followed between Pierre to Deadwood, South Dakota, and that whole Black Hills area after the discovery of gold. So what would happen is the boats would come up the Missouri River up to Pierre, and then they would unload from there, load everything onto ox carts, and then drive for 200 miles from Pierre to Deadwood. And that round trip, get this, that round trip took 30 days. So it's interesting looking all this countryside here and just imagining how those people and all that cargo would just be coming through all these rolling hills. Well, look at that, all fresh and clean now. All I have to do now is get a haircut, right? So anyway, I'm here in downtown